This music musing will explore the different basic elements of music and what these evoke in you, the listener and explorer. To begin with, we're going to connect to this moment in the now, in the present, by becoming aware of our posture, creating a nice stable base with our hips, allowing our spine to create natural curves on top of that, letting tension drop out of the shoulders so that the arms can hang down loosely, somewhere on the legs or in the lap, letting go of any tension in the face or any facial expressions which aren't really needed here and now. And releasing any other tension you may find anywhere in the body. Keeping in mind perhaps that itchy sensations can also be a form of body tension that you can release. And since we have this lovely overall body awareness right now, we can explore that a little bit further. Just make note of anything we're feeling. We can open that awareness to any sounds in our environment, any sights, any smells or tastes that we are sensing in this moment right now. And we can become aware of the breath sensations, how that feels in the body on the inhales and exhales. And how that changes any sensations or senses that we feel in the body in terms of movement or bringing in smells or creating some soft sounds. There's no need to change the breath for the next couple minutes. We'll just become aware of how it is right now, in this moment. I've linked the album that I'll be listening to in this practice in the description below. So if you'd like to follow along with that same music, you can open that in a separate tab and then begin playing it with the 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown that you'll see in a few moments. Four, 3, 2, 1. And now, before we start going into those basic elements of music, we'll use one of them to create a bridge that can serve as an anchor grounding us through this entire musing as a meditation object. and that will be connecting the breath to the beat. Now, the beat that we choose for our breath doesn't have to be individual beats, because that might quicken the breath more than is necessary. At first, let's just become aware of how our breath lines up with the beat right now, without pushing or pulling it too far in either direction. You can try counting beats as you inhale, and then counting as you exhale. You can use a hand to tap this out if you like. And if you want to bring your breath over to inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 4, you can do that as well. If the music is a bit slower, you might want to use a 2 count. So inhaling for 2 and exhaling for 2. Or if you're using quicker music for this musing, you can always go for a full 8 on the inhale and 8 on the exhale to make some nice, easy divisions. Since the beat or rhythm also conveys a sense of movement, you can let yourself move if you would like to sway as well as tap, or choose one of the other. You can sway to one side on the inhale or to the other on the exhale. The other sort of basic component of music is the notes. These have pitches in terms of how high or low the note is. Pitches can have sort of a gradient going from low to high, like mm, and back down. Mm. But in music, we tend to use a sort of agreed upon stepped set of frequencies to create the typical A, B, C, D with sharps and flats notes that you may or may not be familiar with, depending on how much music theory you know. Don't worry, that's about as much as we're going to get into today, because I'm no expert on this by any means. But for now, it's enough to take notice of how these high and low notes combine to make melodies. Like some of the basic ones you might remember from your childhood if you grew up in the Western world, like the notes that make up Happy Birthday or Twinkle Twinkle, Little Star. And you may also be aware that harmonies can be created by combining notes at the same time, which give rise to chords. So the mainstay of a lot of Western music being done in G, C, E, D chords that you can find all over many popular songs. And these also support and create melodies in music. Again, you don't need to know this music theory in very technical ways to get a sense of how music affects you and evokes feelings and movements and emotions in you as a listener. Because as someone who's listened to music, by the time you're 5, you're already an expert. So, expert explorer, music listener, what do you hear right now? What melodies, chords, harmonies are drawing you in? Become aware of those while maintaining your connection to the breath and the beat underneath it all. With that beat underneath it all, combined with the melody, is there any way you want to move? Do you want to change your sway or your tapping in any way? Or try combining these things in a simple way to express both the melody and the beat? Does the overall tonality, so how pleasant or discordant you find the notes, does that evoke any feelings or emotions? As a very basic distinction you can start to make, does this music make you feel more happy, or perhaps a bit more reflective or bittersweet or longing? Now you can become aware of the timbres, which is how timbre in music tends to be pronounced, claiming that this is because it's French, even though en français c'est timbre, not timbre. Either way, this is all to say that there are unique sound qualities in particular instruments, sort of like how timbre, timbre, tambour have unique sound qualities that can draw or perk up your ears. So do any instruments in the music you're listening to have a sound quality that you like? This can be related to its pitch or some of the harmonics it creates around the sounds that give it a particular quality that you may recognize as being a piano or a saxophone or a person singing. What do those evoke, and why do they draw you in? Now become aware of the dynamics of the sounds, how loud or soft different parts of the music are, or how loud or soft the overall piece is. Does that dynamic in loudness and softness create any feeling or movement? Is there a sense of energy or calm related to this? Does the texture of how those different parts are layered together over one another evoke any particular movement or feeling? Is it complex or simple? Does it change over time? Now become aware of the overall form, how all this is arranged, how parts lead into each other, one part into the next, one bar into the next, with an underlying rhythm and melodies and harmonies overlapping to create textures and timbres and tonalities and different dynamics in how loud or soft all this becomes. Does that evoke any movement or feeling? Does that movement or feeling change over time, over the course of this piece of music you're listening to? If you're practicing this with an entire album, like I'm doing here, you can also make note of the overall form of how different pieces of music, different songs combine to maybe tell a bit of a story or evoke different feelings or movements over time, from calm to more energetic or the other way, from happy to reminiscent to longing and back again, or sustaining one of those over the course of an album. And through all this, we are staying connected to the breath and connecting that to those beats and melodies. On a final note, if you'd like to come back to this practice with a particular song that you'd like to deconstruct or explore further, I've put the time signatures in the description below with a bit of a count in, a 4 count, to give you just a little time to jump to that part and then restart your song. In that way, you can take the same song and explore it with these different basic elements and awareness of how those evoke different feelings, emotions, and movements in you, the listener and explorer. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy. Remember that the only bad practice is the one you didn't do. So take a moment to feel some gratitude for the chance to practice today and for the efforts you put into it. Until next time.